And we are live. Welcome to another edition of DT Live. This, of course, is New Year's Eve Live. And we are live. Uh-oh. Welcome to another edition. Let me mute the stream. And we are live. Uh-oh. All right. For those of you hanging out in the YouTube chat, we've got several of you already here. Mr. GFY and Pixelod, Chris, Wendy, Yu-Gi-Oh, Ricky, Chaz, Jabud, Mark. How is the audio levels? Give me a yay or a nay on audio. If audio's good, and we'll rock and roll. White Chocolate says hello. How you doing, White Chocolate? Happy New Year from Chris. Yeah, greetings. Hey, Katrina, how's it going? Loud and clear? Audio's good? Awesome. Yeah, Ricky, you got a new Logitech 920. Yeah, that's a great webcam. Yeah, Lucas. Yep, everybody's sounds good. Buttery smooth into 2019, buddy. Says Mark Yates. All right, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone. All right, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me a little bit on New Year's Eve. And tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look at, of course, a couple of new Linux distro releases. There were a ton of new distro releases just in the past week. It seems like everybody waited till the very end of 2018, the first week of 2019 to do a big release. So there are a lot of Linux distros that I would love to take a look at. But there's really too many distro releases in the last few days for me to take a look at all of them. But there were a couple that kind of interest me personally. I wanted to take a look at. I wanted to take a look at the new Calculate Linux, Calculate 18.12, and Slackole. I had never heard of Slackole, but it just had a release according to DistroWatch. It is a Slackware-based Linux distribution that uses OpenBox. Sounded interesting to me, so should be fun. Yeah, Mark says this is my third favorite U.S. holiday. Awesome. Well, this one's worldwide. Yeah, I was about to say, New Year's, pretty big everywhere. At least everybody that, still uses the standard calendar. Yeah, unless you live in China. Well, we will make an exception for the Chinese. It makes my night a little less lonely. Glad to be here with you and the chat. Slackware was your first distro? Yep. Slackware was a lot of people's first distro, especially for those of you that go back with Linux all the way back into the 90s. Slackware was it still is, it's the oldest active Linux distribution. Debian is the second oldest active Linux distribution. Both Slackware and Debian came into existence back in 1992, a month apart. Debian's just 1 month younger than Slackware. Both have been around really since the beginning. Not long after that, Red Hat got started. Red Hat's been around forever. Yeah, running Debian, strong. Yep, Debian's great. How you doing, Stacy? Using custom GNOME shell crashes GNOME. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of GNOME, so I can't help you there. I'm struggling to get Emacs to do the right thing for me. This is a big pain in the butt. I can't help you with Emacs either, iCubic, so... I know enough Vim to be dangerous, but Emacs, I've never bothered with Emacs. Never installed it, never tried to learn it. Yeah, Mark says he's getting a couch for staying long term and probably going to have my TV mounted to the wall soon and play games. Setting up a little game room, I guess, huh, Mark? Yeah, Arch uses me, by the way, says Mitchell. Yeah, love Arch. Yeah. Gotta love OpenBox. Yeah, love OpenBox. Calculating Slackle sounds like a TV series. Yeah, but I expect Calculate to be one of those unstable distros that you love, Toss. Calculate is based on Gentoo, so very unstable. Slackle should be rock solid stable if it's based on Slackware. So, two very different distributions. Yeah, who's waiting for Solus 4? We've been waiting for Solus 4 for a year. We got 3.9, then we got 3.99, then we got 3.999, Then we got 3.999999. We may never get to Solus 4. But if we ever do, I'll definitely take a look at it. Yeah, Arch over Gentoo, changed my mind. I'm not going to try. Use what works. Completely different distributions, Arch and Gentoo, though. They're really nothing alike. So, yeah, speaking of Gentoo, Ben Fitzpatrick. Happy New Year. Alright, guys. Well, I'm going to go ahead and fire up a VM here and take a quick look at Calculate Linux. So, alright, let me open VirtualBox. I had already run through the install. I didn't want to go through the install of either Calculate or Slackle on camera. Because quite frankly, I never know what that's going to do to the live stream. Could cause some buffering, especially if you start updating the system and pulling things down, from a repo. It caused some buffering on the live stream, so. First things first, I'm going to get rid of some of these menus in OpenBox, so get rid of that top menu, so all you see is Calculate. Now, it doesn't look like we're going to have VirtualBox guest editions in Calculate. By the way, this is Calculate 18.12 XFCE. Since we're not going to have VirtualBox guest editions, what I might do is just zoom in for you guys. It'll look a little weird when I zoom in, but give me just a second. Let's set this up. All right. So this is Calculate 18.12 XFCE. Calculate again. Gentoo based, 100% compatible with Gentoo. It's just really Gentoo with the easier install. In the XFCE edition, we have a graphics category. We have GIMP, Nomax, Xsane for a scanner. Internet, we have Aurora. I guess that's the default. That's kind of strange. I'm not sure why they go with Aurora. Probably for branding purposes. Probably some kind of licensing issue. And it's a nightly build, it looks like. By the way, tonight I'm drinking one of my regulars, Yingling. I think in the show notes, I mentioned I'd probably pick up some Modelo and drink a couple of Modelos during the stream. The store I stopped at. I didn't see Modelo, which I love Modelo, but Yingling. Yingling's a fine beer. From the oldest brewery in the United States. It looks like Aurora is not functioning correctly. It never launched, so. And this is the problem when you start installing some of these weird browsers in your distros. Why wouldn't you just put Firefox? So, anyway. Also under Internet, Claws Mail. I hate Claws Mail, but it is like a light, kind of minimal email client. But really, if you install Thunderbird, if you're going to put an email client on an ISO, please put Thunderbird there. There's really nothing else that compares to it. If you wanted to be kind of a contrarian and put something else other than Thunderbird, Kmail if you're doing Plasma, or maybe Geary. Geary's not bad. Claws Mail is not great though. Internet, Deluge. Deluge is the BitTorrent client, a great BitTorrent client. I wouldn't change that. Gajum, I'm not sure exactly what that is. It looks like it may be some kind of instant messaging program. You need to have an account in order to connect to the Jabber network. Okay, I'm not going to bother connecting to that. And HexChat, of course, is the IRC chat client. It automatically connects you to Freenode, so I'm assuming it's going to go straight to the Calculate Linux support channel. And it does. Yep. We are in Freenode Calculate. So let me close that out. Now, when I close that out, it didn't actually close. HexChat is still running up here in the sys tray, so I'll get rid of it there. Excuse me, guys. Got a bit of a cough today, too. Remina for remote desktop. Multimedia, we have Clementine. And for those of you but haven't been following the channel that long. Early in the year, I did actually install Calculate on my main production machine. I think I lived in Calculate. I don't know if I did XFCE. I might have done LXQT. I think they have a Mate edition as well. Forget which one I installed. I lived in it for a couple of weeks on my main production machine. It's a distro that's always interests me. I love checking it out in VMs every time they have a new release. I've been following, Calculate for a few years. Clementine 1.3.1. Clementine's fantastic for an audio player. But if you're looking for an easy way to get into Gentoo, probably Calculate is your best bet. Sabian is another great Gentoo-based distro, although Sabian strays a little further from a mainline Gentoo than Calculate does. Sabian's got its own kind of unique package manager. They use Equo for a package manager. But you can still use a merge in Sabian. They just recommend you don't. Another great Gentoo-based Linux distro is Redcore, if you like LXQt. Also under Multimedia, Pulse Audio Volume Control, SM Player's here for our video player. SM Player is great. I usually install VLC, like if I'm building something from the ground up, installing something like Arch or Gentoo, I'm always going to install VLC, but SM Player is pretty nice. And under System, we have Bulk Rename Tool. We have our partition editor, gparted, of course, so you could use Calculate, I guess, as a live USB stick if you wanted to maybe use it as like a rescue live USB. Having something like gparted on it makes sense. I have our task manager. It's the graphical task manager, the XFCE task manager. We're using pretty low CPU. It's fluctuating, but 19%, 15%, 18%. We got a little bit going on here in the sys tray. Clementine's still running. Get rid of that, because I'm sure that's using up a lot of CPU. Now CPU is 2%, 7%, yeah. So using almost no CPU. And of course memory, 16%. I gave this machine 4 gigs of RAM. Quickly, I'm going to go back to the chat, see what we missed here. Alright. Now, there's quite a bit of chat here, so I'm going to backtrack for just a second. Just install Gentoo if you like nitty gritty. Yeah, Gentoo's great. Not everybody likes the install. If you have really nice equipment, really nice hardware, good CPU, especially for the compile times, you can install Gentoo in a couple of hours, no problem. If you've got older hardware, the Gentoo install can take forever. So it's nice to have these kind of easy to install Gentoo alternatives like Calculate, Redcore, Sabian. As Slackware, somebody mentioned Slackware is great. Slackware is much more stable. It's not a rolling release. Completely different kind of distro, which we're going to get into a Slackware distro here in just a second with Slackle. Yeah, I only put Arch on a VM once. Yeah, you should install Arch if you're in a VM. The first time you install Arch, maybe run through it in a VM a few times before you try it on physical hardware just to get the hang of it. Yeah, Stacy says Thunderbird and Firefox are the way to go. I agree. Don't give me one of these weird alternative browsers. Give me Firefox or Chromium. And if you're going to give me an email client, it better be Thunderbird. The only other one that I think is acceptable, if you're building a Plasma distribution, Kmail's not horrible. Yeah, how does Transmission compare to Deluge? Both are fine. Transmission is standard in the GNOME desktop environment, so if it's there, I'm running a GNOME distro. I don't uninstall Transmission and install Deluge. Both work fine. But if I'm not running GNOME and I'm installing my own BitTorrent client, Deluge is usually the one I go to. Deluge is a Qt app, I believe. Transmission, of course, is GTK. And iCubic is running NixOS. Very cool. Mitchell, I run OpenBSD as a daily driver. Wow, you're hardcore. You also run Lubuntu and Arch. Okay, so you're multi-booting, huh? I'll be using PinGuy OS soon. Yeah, PinGuy is a nice distribution. I've checked it out on the channel. Matter of fact, we're going to go over some of what I covered in 2018. Did so many videos in 2018. Heck, looking back on some of them, I don't even remember recording some of the videos I made in 2018. So, yeah, I'm going to be using PinGuy. Let's see. I think I'm at the end of the chat. I had to skip over some of it. There's just a little bit too much. Yeah, hoping DT goes with i3. I'm probably going to switch to i3 in the next couple of days. So I put that poll up. You guys vote for my next window manager. i3, way out in front. So I'll probably live in i3. Make some videos about i3. So be prepared for that. Yeah, which tiling window manager won the poll? i3 by a mile. Awesome window manager came in a very distant second, and the other three barely registered. Yeah, Mitchell uses tumbleweed. Very cool. Getting back to Calculate here. For those of you that are not familiar with Calculate, go through some of the system stuff. Of course, Thunar is the file manager, standard file manager in the XFCE desktop environment. And of course, the XFCE terminal is here. Not exactly sure what kernel we're on. Let's do a quick uname space -r 4.19.9-calculate. It's the name of the terminal. You know what? I should have left that terminal up. I wonder if htop is installed on the system. I usually like to take a look at the system resources with htop. So I gave this machine 2 cores and my 6-core CPU. Almost no CPU. Yep. And in htop, memory is registering 603 megs. Pretty normal for XFCE. And again, we've got quite a bit of stuff going on in the sys tray here. So that is pretty standard, I think, for XFCE. Under utilities, we have our clipboard manager, which we've already got it open in the sys tray. I see it sitting right here. Calculator for a calculator. Leaf pad, text editor. Standard stuff. The settings manager here in Calculate. So we have the appearance tab where we could change some of the themes. A lot of the standard XFCE themes that quite frankly don't look that good. The Calculate icon set, it looks like it's based on Elementary. I like the Elementary icon set. I would just stick with that. We can play around, of course, with the fonts if we wanted to. Well, I should have left the settings manager up. I'd see what else. I really wanted to play around with some of the package management stuff. Now, because it's a live stream, I don't want to do like I don't want to update the system or install any big packages because it will cause the stream to buffer. I used to do those on camera during live streams in the early days of the channel, and it would always cause problems with the stream. It took me a while to figure out what was causing all my streams to buffer so badly, but usually updating a VM while live streaming is not a good idea. So Calculate Linux update, I'm assuming will update the system. I'll click on that and see what happens. Has been a while since I've used Calculate. Alright, yes, I remember this. So, only use stable updates is ticked on by default. I'd probably leave that. Search for the most appropriate update server, save packages used during the build, that's ticked on. You do have some advanced settings you could go through. I guess, what repos you want to use here. See what other options. Check repository integrity, check package signatures, yada yada yada. Then I would click run and it would update the system. Again, I'm not going to actually do that. But anyway, you just tick on whatever it is you want to tick on and hit that run button. And the window stays open. It'll give you some information, a progress of how much of the system has been updated. Pretty standard graphical system updater tool. Anything else here? There is the Calculate console. Not exactly sure what this does, to be honest. Even though I've played around with Calculate a lot, I mean, a lot of this looks more geared toward developers. For example, creating custom images of Calculate. So maybe you want to create your own like remaster sys ISO of Calculate. That's what this would be for. Of course, we have backup and restore. So then the configuration, we have some options as far as booting, locale, etc. So kind of some advanced stuff in that Calculate console. Probably not things that a lot of computer users would play with. And that really is Calculate in a nutshell. Calculate 18.12 with the XFCE desktop environment. It's kind of a plain, a bit of a vanilla XFCE. all the Calculate desktops are kind of plain vanilla. They're not very flashy. The Mate desktop is the same way. The LXQt desktop is the same way. You're not just going to be blown away by like their customized XFCE desktop or their Mate desktop. But again, this is basically 100% Gentoo. It was just a much easier install. It's a graphical installer that you can be done with in 10 minutes. Calculate does not use systemd, so it's just like Gentoo in that aspect. It uses OpenRC. Where Sabian, which I mentioned, Sabian's a good Gentoo-based Linux distribution. Sabian actually uses systemd. So, throwing that out there for those of you that like Gentoo because it doesn't use OpenRC, you'd probably like distros like Calculate and Redcore. Sabian, maybe not so much. That was a look at Calculate 18.12 there. Yeah, Koyu, I'll be installing Gentoo soon, yeah. It's not a bad install process. A little bit lengthy because you have to wait on the compile times, but it's not difficult, it's not hard. A few more commands to enter in a command line than the Arch install, but the main thing is after you enter those commands, you wait a lot longer for things to happen. Because everything's being built from source, so. Yeah, what's the most obvious command that you forgot? For me, I forgot to add install to sudo apt-get command on Debian-based distributions. Yeah, I don't know what the most common command that I enter in a terminal that I mistype. Probably ls. I often type SL. So on my desktop, what I've done is I've installed the package SL. So for those that don't know, let me switch layouts here. Oh, this is Qtile here, still running Qtile. So if I open a terminal, I'm going to zoom in. ls, of course, is the standard list command in Bash and various other shells. It just lists the directories in the directory you're currently in, right? It lists all files and directories. You use this all the time as you navigate around. So if I cd into my root folder to make sure I'm there, also to check out what's there, I always ls, right? I'll cd back into my home folder. I'll ls. You're always, changing directories, cd and ls, right, in the shell. And when you're typing quickly, it's easy to accidentally type sl instead of ls. Well, it's so common, what a lot of people do, and I do this too, is I went ahead and installed this package called SL. It is designed to cure you of that habit of mistyping ls, because SL stands for steam locomotive. It has this steam locomotive run across your terminal for several seconds, and you cannot get out of it. You have to watch that steam locomotive go across your terminal. So after you've done that a few times, you're going to slow down with those ls commands and start typing it correctly, because you get tired of watching that. So, ls is a very common one to mistype in the terminal, though, for most people. Another common one is to type a command and not give it sudo privileges. There is a very easy fix to that. I go back to my desktop. If I can find how to go back to my desktop, I may not be able to. I've got so many scenes in OBS tonight. Anyway, open a terminal on the wrong screen. Let's see. So if you type something, mistype something, say I want to update my system, pacman space dash capital S lowercase y lowercase u. I didn't give that thing sudo privileges. I can't run it. Well, what you do is you just sudo space exclamation point exclamation point, and it will run that last command, and it will tell you what the last command was. So do you want to run sudo pacman dash syu? Enter your root password. I'm not going to bother. So just you type a command and you forget to put sudo in front of it. The next command, just type sudo space exclamation point exclamation point, and you don't have to bother typing that first command over again, because sometimes you forget to type sudo in front of a very lengthy command, And you're like, dang, do I have to type that whole thing again? No, you don't. Missed a lot of the chat here. Sorry, guys. I had to skip over some of the chat. Yeah, the train. Yeah. Yeah, if you don't have SL installed, it's in everybody's repos. Just, you're on Debian or Ubuntu, sudo apt install SL. You're on Arch, sudo pacman-s SL. Yeah, that's why the train exists. Yeah, it makes you slow down, makes you start typing the correct command. Why are Lamer's message removed? Lamer's message was removed. You can't post a link in the YouTube chat by default. Nobody removes it. You know, no, there's no moderators removing his message probably, but by default, YouTube will just automatically remove any message that contains a link. You can't post a link in the YouTube chat unless you're a moderator or unless you're me. So. Yeah, Lamer is going to make videos on MX. Yeah, MX is great. I like MX. Really digging Antics on my laptop as well. Been running it for a little bit. Alright, guys. So, just very quickly, let's get into Slackle. Kind of looking forward to this one because I know nothing about it. Never heard of it until downloading the ISO today. Checking out Distro Watch. Now Slackle, I've already went through the install with it. Again, graphical installer, very easy. It was like a 10-minute install, if that. It may have been quicker than 10 minutes because it's kind of a minimal distro. Not a lot of packages installed by default. So, I'm going to let this boot up. I probably actually should read a little bit about Slackle. The only thing I know is it's based on Slackware and Salix. So they draw some stuff from that. You know what? Is this thing not going to boot up? Or is it just taking a really long time? Yeah, it's just taking a long time. That's strange. Now that was a long time for boot. Now VirtualBox guest editions are working, so this thing, actually I can get the proper screen resolution. Well, I say, yep, it does. Gives me a nice screen resolution. You know what? That's a really nice conky they've got on the desktop, except it's not on the desktop. They've actually got this in a windowed mode, you know, that I can drag around, close, minimize. It's a bit strange. You're going to have conky load by default. Why wouldn't you, paste that thing into the desktop? Anyway, kind of weird. So, thanks for the super chat, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, here's a little end of the year bonus for you. I hope 2019 will be a banner for you. Yeah, we'll see. 2018 wasn't bad. Looking forward to 2019, though. Got some things planned for 2019. I think it's going to be all right. Matter of fact, we're already... Happy New Year, guys. GMT time, January 1st, 2019. Already a couple hours into the new year. GMT time. I've still got a couple of more hours to go here to get to it. Anyway, so we're running OpenBox here. We go to the menu here. By the way, the panel, even though it's OpenBox, they put a proper panel down here. I'm assuming that's LX panel. I would bet it is. One way to find out. Let's open up a terminal. Where is, and then the name of the package that's installed, LX panel. Yep, we have the binary, /user/bin/LX panel. That means it's installed. That's probably LX panel running. So we know the name of the panel. Thanks for the super chat, John. You're very kind. Happy New Year, brother. Yeah, current Unix time, 1546307901. Is that true? And how did you arrive at that? Wow. Okay, so I'm going to go through the LX panel, but of course, OpenBox has its own right-click panel. And, you know, you have everything here. Matter of fact, I'm not sure why. I don't know. I would probably just get rid of this menu, actually. Even if I was going to stick with LX panel, why use this menu if I've always got my right-click menu that I can just right-click on the desktop anywhere and it always brings it up. I could even hotkey it to where, like, the super key brings up the open box menu. So, kind of a duplication, I think, an unnecessary one. But anyway, audio and video. We have the Asunder CD Ripper. Kind of useless, I think. I don't think, not useless. I mean, some people still rip audio from CDs, but probably not something you really need to put on the ISO. Bracero is your standard disk burning utility for the GNOME desktop environment. It's actually quite nice. If I wasn't running GNOME, though, I would probably install K3B. K3B is fantastic. Doesn't have a ton of KDE dependencies either, so. Also under audio and video, Xfalso. I'm not sure what that is. Let's see what that is. Let's see, edit tags, tags from path, rename files. I guess to edit like the metadata for your audio files, I'm assuming. No about information or anything here. And thanks for the super chat, Koyo. Yeah, order some pizza. That's not a bad idea. I actually made some food earlier, though. Already had my dinner. Might get some pizza tomorrow, although on New Year's Day, you're not going to find much open. So one thing, you better cook on New Year's Day, because there won't be any restaurants open. Also under audio and video here in Slackle, we have XL, which is an audio player. Not something you see installed by default on too many Linux distros. XL 3.4.5. Kind of a light, minimal audio player. I'd kind of say it's similar, maybe, I guess, to Audacious, you know. Got that similar kind of lightness to it. Same kind of vibe. We have an ISO master, I guess, for writing ISOs to CD or live USBs or, yeah, CDs and live USB sticks. Install multimedia codecs. Now that is interesting. So if I give my root password and hit OK, now it's probably going to have to pull something down from the internet. It'll cause the stream to buffer, but I'm assuming if I click forward, yeah. I'm going to pull down all the multimedia codecs. I'm going to go ahead and let this run because hopefully this shouldn't take but a minute or two. Shouldn't be a very big thing. But for those of you interested in running Slackle, that's a big thing. You have to have the multimedia codecs to get a proper desktop experience. Otherwise, you're going to open up your video player and try to play a DVD or a Blu-ray or something like that, and it's not going to work because you don't have the proper packages to play those things. This might take more than a minute. I hope the stream isn't buffering too bad. Still have a green in OBS even while this is going on, though. And it's verifying the checksums, reading the package list, yada yada yada. While that's going on. Back to the chat. Yeah, you're gonna try OpenBox, says Stacy. OpenBox is fantastic. One of my favorite window managers. Definitely my favorite floating window manager. Yep. Happy New Year. Happy New Year. A lot of Happy New Years. Michael says Happy New Year. Yeah. Anyone else collect ISOs? I don't. No. I know some people that do, though. Especially back in the day when you had to burn physical CDs and DVDs. You know, you'd collect them because, I mean, you actually have that DVD and, you know, you just add it to the stack of, you know. And yes, there's some very old Linux distributions in that stack. Well, so I say very old, I mean 8, 10 years old. Just because I had to burn them to install them back then, I, you know, added them to the stack. So just keep adding stuff to the stack. Nowadays, of course, nobody runs live DVDs. Everything's done with USB keys. So you don't hold on to those old images like you used to. All right. Yeah, Happy New Year's, everyone. By the way, getting back to Slackle, this finished very quickly after I switched scenes, and it gives me the full list of everything it's about to add, all the multimedia codecs and everything, all the plugins it's about to add. Yeah, and I would need all of these, of course. You guys are going to need all of them if you actually wanted to live in Slackle on like your main machine. I'm going to cancel though. Not going to bother in the VM. Under development, we have Genie for our text editor. It's really an IDE. Fast and lightweight IDE. This is Genie. Gorgon is the code name. Anyway, I always install Genie on all of my machines. I really love that program. Some other development stuff. OpenJDK, Qt4. Graphics, we have GIMP, Simple Scan, View Noir, and MT Paint. MT Paint, of course, is your simple painting program. Neat little painting program. Under network, we have Avahi, FileZilla. FileZilla is an interesting one to put on the ISO as well. I mentioned it's kind of strange to put a CD ripper on the ISO. I think it's kind of strange to put an FTP client. Most people are not going to need an FTP client. FTP for file transfer protocol. It's for downloading or uploading, files from a remote machine. So think web servers, So you're uploading, all your HTML files or whatever to a web server, Not something most people are going to need. Firefox is installed. So compared to Calculate, Slackle at least gets the web browser right. Hopefully the web browser actually loads. That Aurora web browser didn't even load in Calculate. But I wouldn't keep that Aurora web browser very long. If I installed Calculate on a real machine, I would quickly go find the real Firefox. This is Firefox 63.0.1. I think Firefox is already on version 64 now. So they're one version behind, but not terribly old. We also have Midori. Midori is one of those horrible web browsers I talked about. This is a lightweight, minimal web browser that some minimal distros, like these open box distros like Slackole, will sometimes install rather than giving you Firefox or Chromium. It's horrible. You're not going to like Midori. Don't even bother trying to live with it. Let's go ahead and remove it as soon as you see it on your system. Pigeon for an instant messenger. Sylpheed for email client. Sylpheed is horrible. Really, I can't even get out of it. Anyway, one of those light, minimal email clients. Just install Thunderbird. But the Slackle guys already did install Thunderbird. So if you already got Thunderbird, Firefox and Thunderbird on the system, why install Midori and Sylpheed? Get rid of those. Transmission for the BitTorrent client. WICD for getting your Wi-Fi going. That's your network manager. Down here in the sys tray. I think I opened it twice. Yep. Also under network, GFTP. Again, another file transfer protocol, FTP utility. Not sure why you need that. AbiWord is here for Office. GNUmeric is also here for Office. AbiWord is a lightweight word processing program. GNUmeric is a lightweight word processing program. But then you also have the entire LibreOffice suite. So if you're going to put the entire LibreOffice suite, get rid of AbiWord and GNUmeric, because you're not going to need those. So, yeah, there's some duplication here in Slackle as far as the programs. The ISO, I believe, when I downloaded it, was 1.5 gigs. I want to say it was a little over a gig. They probably could have got that down to maybe closer to just 1 gig in size if they would just get rid of some of the programs that are not needed on the system. Because there were at least half a dozen programs that I've already looked at that really I wouldn't have put on the ISO. Oh, yeah. I remember using Ubuntu 12.04 LTS as Lamer. Yeah. 12.04 was actually great. That was the first really good Ubuntu with Unity. That was the first distro of Ubuntu where Unity was really nice and usable. They first started with Unity in 11.04, and that was not good. It was really buggy. But by the time they got to the 12.04 LTS, Unity was really nice. Yeah, Chris says, DT, a new meaning to Stack Overflow. Yeah, for how long is the stream going? I don't know. I'll be here for a little bit, though. The taskbar menu thing reminds me of Windows a little bit. Yeah, and Slackle, yeah, that LX panel, that's the standard panel in LXDE. It had a really old school kind of Windows 2000 vibe to it. LXDE does. Yeah, more apps people don't really use. Yeah, that's the thing with, Slackle is got a few things here that I don't think most people would need. Let's see, MX using Firefox 64. Yep. Yeah, Firefox is already on 64 on most of the distros I've checked out lately. Slackle, though, again, it's based on Slackware. Slackware is a little behind. Slackware is kind of a stable distro. It's not bleeding edge at all. All right, just quickly, I'm gonna finish up with Slackle here. Under settings, we have Adobe Flash is installed. Great. Bluetooth manager, yeah, that would be nice if you're running this on a laptop. Customized look and feel, of course, is the LX appearance program. This is to change the GTK theme, the icon theme. Also under settings, you have desktop preferences. So again, some appearance stuff, but we could change the wallpaper, but there are no wallpapers available. This is the only wallpaper, slackle.ping. Wallpapers located in user share wallpapers, but nothing else, so that is kind of a bummer, but you could probably install some other wallpaper packs if you knew the names of them in Slackware. Alright. Anything else that we should point out? Of course, the OpenBox configuration manager changes the OpenBox theme. So, the OpenBox theme is the theme for the right-click menu and this top frame and the window border around the frame. That is OpenBox. And OpenBox configuration manager changes that. So if I change from Clear Looks Olive to Clear Looks Phoenix, see, the top of the window here is now blue. The menu now has blue highlighting instead of green. Back to the original theme. So you have to, when you change themes in an OpenBox distro, you have to change the OpenBox theme to change that menu and the top of the panel, and then you also have to change the GTK theme to change, inside the window. And under utility, standard stuff here. LeafPad, Parcelite, Vim, OB menu to help you edit the OpenBox menu. So it's a graphical way of editing this menu instead of having to open up a plain text editor and edit the OpenBox.xml file that houses all that stuff. Anyway, that is Slackle. Looks like your standard OpenBox distro, to be honest. One thing that's kind of interesting about it is it uses the LX panel rather than something like the Tint 2 panel, which most OpenBox distros use. The LX panel's fine. We really don't need a menu system, though, because you've got this menu in OpenBox, so I would probably delete this, the menu widget on the panel, because I wouldn't need it. Other than that, I would be fine with Slackle. I could live in Slackle, no problem. I'm going to go back to the chat. I'm going to go ahead and kill this VM as well. All right. Catch up on some of the chat here. Yeah, Ubuntu 14.04 with Unity was great. Yeah, all the LTSs with Unity were great. 12.04, 14.04, 16.04, all solid releases. I used them all. Yeah, I wanted to know if DT made one since he's the only person I've heard talk about it. Well, if I made what? I must have missed something. Made videos on OpenBox. I've made a few. Matter of fact, I'll discuss some of those later as I kind of review some of what I did in 2018 on the channel. I know I did a few videos on OpenBox. A couple of them were kind of popular. I got a lot of views. Let's see. Yeah, thanks for reviewing Slackle. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of it either. If I hadn't have been checking out Distro Watch today and came across their release announcement, I wouldn't know anything about Slackle. I have no idea how popular it is. Let me go to Distro Watch, actually. I'm actually going to see if I can show you guys this. Distro Watch. I go to the Slackle page in Distro Watch. Will it tell me its current rank? Yeah. For 12 months, it's 180. The 6-month rank, I think, is the official Distro Watch page hit ranking. It's ranked 144. So, not a popular Linux distribution at all. Probably why you haven't heard of it and why I haven't heard of it. I'm going to update my Manjaro XFCE build with TJ. Awesome. So that's Ben Fitzpatrick saying he's going to update his custom Manjaro XFCE build that he does with TJ Wolf. Got their own custom ISO out there. Yeah, when you get that done, Ben, let us know. Or if you already got a link you want to share with the chat, go ahead and post it. Yeah, Crunchbang had a ton of nice conkeys. Yeah, Crunchbang was excellent. Crunchbang was a very popular Debian-based Linux distribution that used the OpenBox window manager. Was very popular back in the day, and then, I don't know, several years back, I want to say 2012 or so, I could be a year or two off in either direction there, Crunchbang died. The main dev decided he didn't want to maintain it anymore. And then we had a bunch of forks of Crunchbang come out of that. Bunsen Labs, Crunchbang Plus, both really good Debian-based OpenBox distros, just like Crunchbang. Yep. Mitchell, I miss Crunchbang. Yeah. Crunchbang was one of my favorites back in the day. I kind of miss it too. Had a great community behind it too. Really good forums. Yeah, Benjamin, I had nothing against Unity as a desktop environment. My quarrel was with Ubuntu putting Amazon ads in the start dash whatever that was called. Yeah. Yeah, not a great decision by them. At least it was easily removed, though. Yeah, Stacy, I'm going to stick with GNOME. I just tried OpenBox and, well, yeah, I guess you didn't like it, huh? It's probably, you know, different strokes for different folks, you know, not. You got to use what you're used to and what works for you. It's not so user-friendly. Yeah, it really isn't, OpenBox. Especially out of the box, you have to configure it. You have to, you know, set everything up. Like Slackle and Bunsen Labs and back in the day, Crunchbang, they set everything up for you and kind of made it nice and usable out of the box. But when you install OpenBox on Ubuntu or Arch, by default, you don't have a panel, you don't have a wallpaper, you have nothing. You have to put all that together. Yeah, Chris says, OpenBox isn't a memory hog. Yeah, I mean, compared to GNOME, yeah, certainly not. All right. Let me get back to my web browser here. And just quickly, I'm just going to quickly go back through some of what I did this year. To be honest, I don't remember everything I've done in the last year. So my channel started like a year and 2 months ago. So middle of October 2017. So really, I've only been around pretty much the year of 2018. And I've made 300, this will be 382 videos I've made. That's a lot of videos in a year. So I don't remember a lot of what I've done. So I'm just going to quickly scan through some of this. From the oldest, sort these videos. So I'm going to try to go to where 2018 started. If I can. Yeah. This one right here. Made my decision. The distro I'm installing for 2018 was Manjaro KDE. So on January 1st last year, or December 31st, 2017, told you guys I was going to run Manjaro with the Plasma desktop for 2018. And I did run Manjaro with the Plasma desktop. for 30 days. I did a solid month. I did not enjoy running Plasma. I like minimal window managers. I always have ever since I first started using Linux. That's that's my thing. I don't like bloated desktops like GNOME or Plasma. But it wasn't a horrible month. I spent a month living in Manjaro KDE, and it wasn't bad. I got a lot of work done, made a lot of videos in January 2018, using Plasma. So, wasn't a horrible experience. I don't hate it. If Plasma was the only desktop environment I could run on Linux, I'd run it. I wouldn't go back to Windows because I had to run Plasma. It's not that bad. Do I prefer things like OpenBox and Qtile and Awesome and yeah, a lot. Fluxbox, JWM, I take any of those over Plasma. But I can use Plasma. Yeah. Yeah, Lamer. I remember when you had maybe 100 subs. Yeah. So I started this channel like mid-October 2017. When I made that video, actually, I can tell you because, let's see. When I made this video on January 1st, 2018, I had 400 subs. Pretty sure, like 400, 450 maybe. So, now I don't know. Somewhere over 18, I don't know, 19,000, I'm not sure. I didn't check today. But yeah, in a year, the channel grew really fast. I was actually shocked, especially in the early days, how many people actually cared about anything I had to say on camera, especially about topics relating to Linux. You wouldn't think that many people were into this kind of, let's be honest, nerdy kind of stuff. I mean, this isn't cat videos, and the things that are usually popular on YouTube. Yeah, appreciate the super chat. Happy New Year and all the best in 2019. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Yeah, Chris, yeah, you've grown a lot. Thank you, Chris. Your channel has grown a hell of a lot in a short space of time. Am I right in saying that? Yeah. Did you do any presenting work before? Nope. I had absolutely no experience doing anything with multimedia as far as audio, video stuff. Was never in radio. Nothing that can be considered like preparing me to do this. I just jumped in it one day, just started making videos. Made videos on a regular basis. People started watching, so I kept making them. Tried to improve on things along the way. Speaking of which, yeah, improving things along the way, we can actually look at this. So that was January 1st, 2018. Now we're going to go through some of the 300 videos. I'll point out some of the more popular ones here. Actually, shortly after that, I made this video here, measuring distro popularity and why DistroWatch's page hit rankings suck. For any of you that take DistroWatch seriously as a real metric of measuring Linux distro popularity, watch that video. I explain it in layman's terms why DistroWatch sucks for measuring distro popularity. It's a horrible metric. Some people say, well, it's not, the greatest metric, but it's an okay one. No, it's not. It's not. It has absolutely nothing to do with a distro's popularity. It really doesn't. So any of you that even slightly disagree, please go watch that video. Because I still get people that swear, Manjaro is the most popular Linux distro on the planet. I run Manjaro, right? I love Manjaro. Manjaro isn't even in the top 10 of most popular distros on the planet. I don't care what DistroWatch says. It's just not. MX now is skyrocketing up the DistroWatch page hit rankings. MX is the second most popular Linux distro on the planet. Guys, come on. There's no way MX or Manjaro combined have as many installs as Ubuntu or Debian or Fedora or even Arch. There's just no way. I don't, again, of all you can, your only metric is DistroWatch, you really don't have a metric, so ran over on that. Anyway, getting back to installing OpenBox, somebody asked about an OpenBox video, how to install OpenBox on a minimal install of Debian. So I made this video back in January, and it was a pretty popular video for me at the time. Again, I didn't have 400 or 500 subscribers the start of 2018, but that video now has gotten 16,000 views. That's pretty good for one of my really old videos where I didn't get any of those like 16K views back in January. Now, it's a lot of people that have watched it over time. Pretty good video, if I do say so myself. It's a 40-minute long video. I install a minimal version of Debian, so I do the Debian net install, and then I install OpenBox on that. So I do Debian, without GNOME or anything. It's pretty much like a server install. And then I show you how to set up OpenBox on that. So any of you wanting to get into OpenBox that way, now you got to be comfortable installing things from the command line and such, but that's a good video to check out. And I do apologize for all the fireworks going off. Here where I'm at, popping fireworks is perfectly legal. It's very humid where I'm at here in Louisiana, so there's no fire bans or anything like that. So we shoot off fireworks for Christmas and New Year's and the 4th of July. It probably won't pick up on the mic, but every now and then there's some really loud booms outside. Somebody like across the street is really having a party. So yeah, so what's the deal? Distro's flooding the website with hits and votes? Yes. Yeah. So I could create a bot to game the system for DistroWatch. All it does is measure page hits to each distro's page on DistroWatch. That's all it does. It has DistroWatch has no idea how many people downloaded an ISO of Mint or Manjaro or Debian. They have no idea, how many people are connecting to those repos for those. They've got nothing to do with that. The DistroWatch page hit rankings, all they measure are how many people viewed the Linux Mint DistroWatch page that day. How many people viewed the Ubuntu DistroWatch page that day. So, it's not a good metric at all. And it's very easy to game. Yeah, so Derek, do you know how you got your first 1K subscribers, viewers? As long as the channel is small, YouTube doesn't show it a lot on recommended videos. Oh, well, Peter, what I did, I started the channel in mid-October, and I started making videos daily. I was probably averaging about a video a day. Some days I'd make 2, sometimes 3 videos a day, and then maybe go a couple of days without making a video, but I was averaging about a video a day. And, it took about 3 months, but after about 3 months, I had 1,000 subscribers, and certainly around February, certainly by March of 2018, things really shot off. Then I started getting, on average, 1,000 new subscribers every month. Some months closer to like 2,000 subscribers in a month. So it takes a while for you to kind of catch up with YouTube, but if you make consistent content, YouTube will eventually start rewarding you. You'll come up a lot better in the searches and in the algorithms, on YouTube. People will be recommended your videos, like all the other Linux channels. Anything Linux related, all of a sudden one day my videos will start being recommended to you guys that are viewing those other channels. So that's how it happens. When you first start out, you don't get any of that, right? So yeah, can it detect hit rate patterns? Yeah, no, DistroWatch, they have some kind of fraud detection as far as people trying to game the system, but it's still easy to game. If you want to artificially inflate DistroWatch's numbers, you can. And I've seen people do it. I saw somebody one time take a distro that had been dead for 5 years, a distro you had never heard of, wasn't even popular when it was alive, much less it had been dead for many, many years. And within a week, they got this thing to the #1 spot on DistroWatch. DistroWatch immediately knew something was wrong, and they deleted this thing from their database, but they got played. So it is possible. I forget the name of the distro. It was like the most random name, too. And then people, are downloading this 5-year-old ISO for this distro because they're wondering why everybody's interested in it. Yeah, your Rottweiler doesn't like fireworks. It's unfortunate. Yeah, your pet hates the boomers too. Well, I've got a cat. He doesn't mind it. So, yeah, Retro Games Plus. Happy New Year, DT. Thanks. Appreciate that. Thanks for making great content I watch every week. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I remember when YouTube came out. To be honest, I thought it was just a glorified place to put your home movies. Yeah. Yeah, in the early days, doing stuff like this was unheard of. YouTube was just a place to upload, some video. Yeah, home movies or whatever. Yeah, hello. Greetings from the future. Thanks. Appreciate that. Arch or Manjaro, I can't decide. Two different distros. I mean, both obviously are Arch distros, but Manjaro comes with a graphical installer and it sets everything up for you. If you want to build everything yourself, Arch is really the better way to go. Is Arch okay to maintain long term? Just as okay as Manjaro. They're similar. I mean, they're practically the same distro. Manjaro's basically Arch. It's just with an easier installation. So I would say they're both easy to maintain if you know what you're doing. If you're a brand new to Linux user, you shouldn't be using either one of them. You shouldn't be on a rolling release distro. It's a bad idea. But if you kind of know your way around Linux, been using it for a little while, you'll be fine in either one of them. Looking at, so I got 1,000 subscribers here on this day, January 22nd, 2018. So there's that. That solved that mystery there. All right. And then, of course, you guys that have been following the channel remember the obscure window manager project where I installed 12, I think, window managers in a VM on Manjaro. I did FVWM, JWM, OpenBox, Fluxbox, i3, Herbstluft, Xmonad, Awesome, and one or two others I'm forgetting. Qtile. How could I forget that one? Oh, and TWM, Tom's window manager. Man, that thing was horrible. Let's see. The G in GNOME is silent. So I still get comments almost every week about the way I pronounce GNOME. Hey man, I love your videos, but you drive me nuts with that GNOME crap. Don't you know it's pronounced gnome? The G is silent. If you're one of those people, for the love of God, please quit messaging me and watch this video. The G in GNOME is silent and Linux is just a kernel. Because neither one of those statements is true. So, all right. Wow. And this is stuff, even in the first couple of months of the year, I forgot I had done. The Linux community is toxic. Yeah, that was a bit of a controversial video. I had bought my Logitech C922 webcam. Really improved the quality of the camera quality on the channel. And of course, later in the year, I upgraded to the Panasonic Lumix G7 that I'm using now. But the Logitech 922 is a fantastic webcam. Cost me, I think, $100 even at the time. Great webcam. Of course, I bought my Blue Yeti microphone about the same time. And I made a rap video to demonstrate how well the Blue Yeti handled freestyle rap. Let's see.
Hey guys, today I'm going to be playing around a little bit with my Blue Yeti microphone. You guys know that I purchased this Blue Yeti microphone about a month ago to help improve the audio quality here on my YouTube channel, on my Linux YouTube channel. And I've really been satisfied with the Blue Yeti microphone, love the Blue Yeti microphone. Some of you have asked me questions about how does the Blue Yeti microphone handle instrumental recording, voiceovers, that sort of thing. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to demonstrate how the Blue Yeti microphone handles freestyle rap. I'm a baller, a shot caller. I'm an Arch Linux installer. Your proprietary operating system I wouldn't buy for $1. Apt, Pac-Man, DNF2, Run them from the terminal, always add sudo. GNOME, GNOME, and KDE, too much bloat, so I leave them be. Linus said GNOME was an unholy mess. I think KDE is too, and freedom of the press allows me to speak on these matters at hand, like the fact that after 10 years, still no Wayland. System D gets a lot of hate, but this is open source, so fork and create your own distro with another init system instead of whining like a little bitch, playing the victim. I use Xmonad Qtile in the awesome window manager, but I don't use i3 because that's for amateurs. I'm ballin', shot calling, like my boy Richard Stallman. I see proprietary software, and I toss them. Aside, I only use freeware. Try to get me to use closed source, and you better beware, because I'm coming at you hard, and I won't quit until every man, woman, and child is running GNU/Linux. I'm like our highness, the divinest. Our boy Linus says what he thinks. He's got no shyness. I'm like my boy Trump. I grab them hoes by the snatch. Peace, guys. Gotta go install Linux from scratch. Yeah, DistroTube in the house. Peace.
Yeah. Not a moment I'm really proud of. I have no idea why I made that video at the time. That was just like the craziest thing. People were like, "Hey man, how long did you spend, coming up with those lyrics?" Seconds. I didn't spend a lot of time coming up with that, obviously. What was funny is when I had made that, you guys heard that line about I don't use i3 because that's for amateurs. You guys all know Ryan, Das Geek, the i3 prodigy. Well, he took offense to that line, so he decided to make a response rap video to my rap video. I think he since deleted his response rap, but his rap video was pretty funny too. What it proved is neither one of us, though, can rap. Yeah, we need an encore. Yeah, some of you guys, back in the day when I made that video, that was like 9-10 months back. Like, hey man, you should do a whole album. You should put this thing on iTunes. Like, really? Some of you guys are easy to please with the randomness as far as a rap I put together in a few seconds. Alright, so that was the freestyle rap video. Let's see. Of course, I did my will Windows 10 change my opinion? My Windows 10 install and review. That was, I believe, April 1st. Yeah, April 1st, 2018. And no, that was not a April Fool's Day joke. I installed Windows 10 in a VM and reviewed it like I do all the Linux reviews. But everybody was confused by it. They're like, dude, is this an April Fool's joke or isn't it? Because, I was very negative toward Windows 10, but then, of course, I'm negative. I'm always negative toward Windows, so is it an April Fool's joke or was like people were really, really confused? Like, I guess I should have waited till like the 2nd of April to release that video because a lot of people, were like, man, I don't get the joke. I'm like, it's not a joke. I just happened to release a video about Windows 10 on April 1st, and yeah, making GNOME not suck as much was another fun video where I show you, I don't know, half a dozen extensions you can install in GNOME to make GNOME not suck as much. There were a few other ones in here that caused some controversy. Richard Stallman, his views on pedophilia. I did a video about that, and a lot of people kind of took offense to that. They're like, hey man, why are you talking about Richard? Hey, I'm just telling you, the guy's got some strange views on a lot of topics. Pedophilia, necrophilia, bestiality. I mean, he's got some kind of out there views. And they're like, well, maybe you're taking his comments out of context. I got all the quotes from that video, and I put the text on the video. I got all of them off of his website, stallman.org. So they're definitely, nobody misrepresented him here. It's all well-known Stallman's views on those topics. So, but you can't criticize Richard Stallman or Linus Torvalds without getting some people taking offense, which I get it. I respect the hell out of both Richard Stallman and Linus Torvalds. Regard both those guys very highly, but still, they're still human. You can criticize them when they do something dumb. Richard has done a lot of dumb things, and so has Linus. So, Yeah, I hate Windows 10. You installed the wrong Windows 10. Yeah, I installed Windows 10s, but I don't know. I was coming at it as a new Windows user. I don't know anything about Windows. I haven't used Windows since XP. If I wasn't supposed to install Windows 10, why is it the first option in the install menu? You know, and it doesn't say, hey, Windows 10, you shouldn't install this. What you really need to install this version. It didn't tell me anything like that. It didn't tell me what I was installing, so I went into it again. It's like it's a Linux distro review. You know, Windows should fix that. If people shouldn't install Windows 10s, then they should have a disclaimer in that install menu. You know, let you know, hey, Windows 10s sucks. Don't install it. This is the version you want. So, yeah, nice. I do not remember this one, or I missed it on purpose. Yeah, the rap video, I'm assuming. I don't know. Yeah, I still remember how I watched your I Will Use KDE video exactly 1 year ago, yeah. Yeah, it's strange how fast the year went. It's like I made that video yesterday. Yeah, I should review Mac OS next. Hey, maybe April 1st, 2019, I review whatever Mac OS version's out. I don't hate that idea, actually. But I shouldn't do it on April 1st, though. Again, people got really confused about doing something like that on April 1st. They're like, are these really your views? Are you saying what you really mean? Or are you lying to us? Like, oh, okay. Yeah, Keith, Stallman is a nutcase. Well, he's a bit of an odd fellow. I wouldn't call him a nutcase. He's just a strange guy. He's got a touch of autism. He's not very good socially. He's kind of awkward, you know. And sometimes he says things publicly he probably shouldn't. Linus Torvalds is the same way, though, except in a different way. Linus Torvalds, you know, says, you know, some really vile and nasty stuff towards people. You know, he insults people in very public ways. Stallman doesn't do that, at least. The stuff he says that he shouldn't say publicly is like, you know, the stuff that has nothing to do with the free software movement. Like, why are you telling me your views on pedophilia? What the hell does that have to do with free software? Why are you even bringing that up? So, yeah, was the Gentoo installation video in 18 or 17? No, it was this year. No, that was a two-parter. Let's see. Yeah, I should get through these 300 videos. Yeah, let's see. What else stands out here? Some of these videos. Still more. The Obscure Window Manager project. Again, that was a 13-part series. The Obscure Window Manager project. Installing Gentoo and VirtualBox, Part 1 and Part 2. It took me 54 minutes and 56 seconds for Part 1. And then 47 minutes, 22, about 2 hours on camera. I edited a lot of video. You guys didn't sit there and watch the kernel compile for over an hour. The actual install was about 5 hours in a VM, cut down to a little under 2 hours on camera, which wasn't too bad. Again, a VM is not using all of your system resources. I only gave it 2 cores of the 6-core CPU of this machine. On real hardware, it would go quicker, and on a better machine, I don't have the greatest equipment. You guys that are running things like these Ryzens, certainly if you're running a Threadripper, you know, those compile times are going to be a lot quicker. So, the Gentoo install is not bad. It just takes a while. And what else? The Hannah Montana installation. People had been bugging me about, take a look at Hannah. You know, this is a distro that's been dead since 2009. You know, it came out in 2009. It only had one version. It was never updated. Hannah Montana was based on Kubuntu 904. Either 904 or 910. I think 904. Anyway, it's actually not bad as far as their version of KDE 4 in Hannah Montana Linux. I didn't hate it, honestly. Of course, Microsoft buying GitHub was big news, you know, gigantic news. And then a lot of people reacted negatively to Microsoft buying GitHub, so I made the follow-up video, do Linux fanboys hate large corporations? And the answer to that is yes. I'll be the first to admit, yes. We're just anti-corporation, anti-large corporation. That's why a lot of us don't like Red Hat, even though we don't have much of a case to hate Red Hat, other than it's a large corporation, so naturally we hate you. Same thing with Canonical. Same thing with SUSE. Even though they are big in the free and open source movement, they do a lot of good work for us. Where would we be without companies like Red Hat and Canonical? But they're big corporations, so we don't trust them, right? Let's see. Yeah. Terminal commands. Did a few videos about weird terminal commands. Did videos about LOLCAT and CalSay and PonySay. Of course, a lot of distro reviews. Of course, I'm not mentioning them. I've covered probably 150 different distros on the channel. Of the nearly 400 videos I made, probably half of them are distro reviews. Things like Clover OS, which was kind of weird. Made by the folks over at 4chan. It's a Gentoo distribution, but it wasn't horrible. And of course, the top 5 reasons to run Arch. That is my most popular video, actually, on the channel. I made this video 5 months ago. This thing's got 53,000 views. The top 5 reasons to run Arch. Yeah, I'm not sure why people find that so fascinating. I guess a lot of people are interested in running Arch. I was actually kind of shocked about that. It's not the kind of video I would think that many people would be interested in. Of course, shortly after that, I started the Taking Into Account series that I do weekly every Thursday. I've really enjoyed doing that, by the way. And of course, the Panasonic Lumix G7, my camera. I shared that with you guys when I purchased that. Top 5 reasons to run Ubuntu. Now here's something that's interesting. The top 5 reasons to run Arch was 53,000 views. Top 5 reasons to run Ubuntu, 4,800 views. So that should show you how many people are really interested in Arch compared to why you should run Ubuntu. And most of the last 3 months of the year, because of my work schedule, I didn't make quite as many videos as I made earlier in the year. Instead of making on average 5 or 6 videos a week, I was often only making 3, sometimes 4 videos a week toward the end of the year. And one of those was always Taking Into Account. The other was the free and open chat Sundays. But I did get a few distro reviews here and there along the way, especially the big releases, the 1810 releases in October, the Fedora 29 release I took a look at. Of course, I got rid of my Blue Yeti and bought the blue baby bottle microphone in November. Took a look at Haiku finally. People had been bugging me about that one for a long time, and I like Haiku. I've actually checked it out before, previous to the channel. I've been following Haiku development for a while. It's been under development for nearly 20 years. So it wasn't like I was avoiding Haiku. I like it as a project. Just, never got around to it. But finally, I got around to that. And of course, now we're to the videos I've just made in the last couple of weeks. That was 2018, some of what I did in 2018. Of course, scrolling through that kind of quickly, one thing I missed, the Code of Conduct controversy. Took up a couple of weeks of our time in the Linux world. So many people were fighting over that when the kernel team decided to adopt that Code of Conduct. And that was when the social justice warriors took over the Linux kernel. I kid, guys. No politics, please. Catch up on some of the chat here. Yeah, Arch is God. Yeah, it seems to be. 10 times as many people watch that top 5 reasons to run Arch than they watch the top 5 reasons to run Ubuntu. And I would have never guessed that when I made those videos. Yeah, Derek, you should make more videos on Arch. I'm sure I will. That's like, I mean, that you don't have to suggest that. There are going to be more Arch videos. It's a Linux channel, and Arch is one of my favorite distros, so you'll see more Arch. It's never going to be like the only thing I focus on is Arch, Don't want to do that. But I love Arch. Yeah, some videos on Bash would be nice. You kind of require it on Linux. It might be interesting and popular to have a series on it. Yep, we're going to do some more with doing some stuff in the shell. One of the things I want to get into more, actually, in 2019, there's some things that, 2018, I mean, it's basically, you guys, I've been doing this a year. right? I mean, I started right at the end of 2017, so basically 2018. You just saw me from beginning to now, from when I just started and didn't know anything about YouTube till right now. So I've been doing this 1 year, and I've tried a few different things on the channel. See what works for you guys, what doesn't work for you guys. Also, what works for me, what doesn't work for me as far as kinds of videos to make. So now that I have a year under my belt, you know, I've been kind of evaluating things, see what I want to do for 2019, see if there's some things I want to change. I think there are a few things I am going to change about the channel, things I can improve on. Yeah, Media Man, I came across your channel about 2 weeks ago and decided to subscribe as I love Linux. Been watching you ever since and enjoy the channel. Thanks, Media Man. Happy New Year. Yeah, Derek, what distro will you be running 2019? Okay. I've got my IC dock with 5 drives. I can make videos in Manjaro, which I'm on tonight, and Fedora, which I've made some videos in the last month on Fedora 29. You guys know I run that for a little bit. I have Sabian also installed on my main machine. I can't really make videos from it because there's no NVENC in Sabian because they don't install FFmpeg in Sabian for some reason. Anyway, won't get into that. What other distros do I have installed on this? I have a Ubuntu Studio installed. But what am I committed to basically using on a daily basis? It's kind of been a Manjaro here the last year. Most of 2018, on and off. You know, I log into other things, other distros occasionally, but it's basically been Manjaro. I want to stick with an Arch-based distro, to be honest, as far as, because it just works. All the packages I need, everything I need to do this channel, I know they're in Arch, where in some other distros, it's not the case. You know, Arch-based distros are pretty easy for me to do what I do. Debian-based distros would be pretty easy for me to do what I do. Gentoo, mainline Gentoo would be okay. Sabian, again, I mentioned Sabian. I've got Sabian installed. It's not that great. Just because of NVENC. I can't get NVENC. But I've thought about, you know, trying to live in a different distro starting 2019. Just pick something and live in it a month or two. I know a lot of you guys, again, a lot of you guys are interested in Arch, which you know, all I do is Arch-based distros, it seems, so I'll probably just stick with Arch or something Arch-based. If I was going to move off of Arch, the only one that I would like be excited personally, Gentoo. I'd just do a straight Gentoo install on this machine. What I'm really looking forward to is my time in the i3 window manager. That's more important than the distro itself, is me learning i3. So, yeah, Big Pod is in the house. How you doing, Big Pod? Yeah, you've been testing Spectre and Meltdown? Let's see, Mitchell. Yeah, Unix porn videos would be nice. So, Unix porn is a subreddit where people post their screenshots of their Linux desktops. 90% of them are people running Arch with i3. So it is very boring, actually, as a subreddit if you're looking for really cool Linux screenshots, because it seems like everybody's running the same desktop. Everybody's running Arch, everybody's running i3. They're using all the same programs. You know, they're running a terminal with NeoFetch. They're running the Ranger file manager. They're running NC, MP, CPP, whatever the heck that MPD music player is with the visualizer going. They usually have the AA Fire program, you know, the terminal inside the Fire, or the Fire inside your terminal thing going, you know. Like, it's always the same screenshots. You never see anything different there. Yeah, Chris, how about, oh, I lost you, Chris. How about a comparison between SH, CAH, Bash, ZSH, of the different shells? Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, we could do something like that. That's something I might do more of, too. I stick to Bash most of the time. But I might do some more stuff looking at ZSH. The other one that's kind of interested me here recently is XONSH, Conch. It is a shell environment, but it is inspired by Python. A lot of Python commands work in the shell. It's an interesting little project too. So we might get into some of that. Yeah, Polybar is nice, but I can't make it clickable. I don't know that much about Polybar. Like in my open box desktops, I always use Tint too. I don't play with Polybar that much. It might be something I take a look at though in 2019. Like the tiling window managers I usually use, like Awesome and Qtile, they come with their own bars. So I've never needed a third-party bar like Polybar, because the standard bar that comes with Awesome Window Manager is fantastic. The bar that comes with Qtile is great. Like I would never get rid of those and go install a third-party panel, because the one that comes with those particular tiling window managers is so good. But if I was installing a tiling window manager that didn't come with a panel, maybe I would look at Polybar, so might be something I look at soon. Might be something I use with i3, who knows? Since I've got to start living in i3 in the next couple of days. Yeah, how about reviewing terminal emulators? Yeah, but I'm not exactly sure what you would review about them. I mean, some of them handle Unicode better than others. Other than that, you can type bash commands into all of them and hopefully get the results you're looking for in all of them. So it would be a strange video as far as like comparing. Like if I did a video Xterm versus RxVT, you know, it's like, and where would you even start? Out of the box, both of them don't look like much. Yeah, DT, you have a website. Is it possible that you open it up to viewers to upload and share stuff like wallpaper, screenshots, configurations, theming? I eventually got to finish that website. I just haven't had time, but eventually I'm going to get a website up and running, and I've thought about doing something like that, making it, you know, sharing, you know, public, well, like dot files, configuration files for things like OpenBox, i3, whatever. Yeah, posting screenshots, of course. No, that way we could all share our bash RC files and vim RC files and things like that. It's not a bad suggestion, Peter. I have thought about it. I've eventually got to get some time, and what I really need is like a week off from my real job. And I think early this year, 2019, I'm going to take like a week vacation from my real job. I'll probably take also that vacation from doing things on this channel, and I'll get a proper website up and running for you guys. One of the things that's kind of been lacking, but I haven't been in a hurry for it, is because we have such a great community here on YouTube. I don't really need another way to communicate with you guys. YouTube has been fantastic. The comments on the videos, the live chats. Those of you that want to contact me outside of YouTube know I'm on Mastodon. I've got about 800 of you guys following me over on Mastodon, which is great. Thanks for the super chat, Nico. Really appreciate that. Happy New Year. Yeah, check the excellent Polybar wiki on GitHub. Yeah, for the guy that was having problems with Polybar, yeah, check the proper support channels. So if they got a website, check it out, or go to GitHub and you know, post your issue with those guys. They should be able to help you. Much better than you'll get, you know, any kind of support here like in a YouTube chat. Because without you posting any kind of error messages or, you know, logs or anything, we have no idea what the problem is. It would just be pure speculation. Big Pod. 2019 has been good for all of 4 hours. It has been warm at least. I'm not sure. Oh, for me at least. Okay. Well, I'm glad 2019's been great for you, Big Pod, so far. I haven't quite made it to 2019 yet, but I may not be up, actually. For 2019, I may go to bed shortly after I kill this stream here in a little bit. Why don't people use ALSA Mixer these days? You can use ALSA Mixer. I have it installed on my system. I don't find the need to use it that often. Thanks for the super chat, Steven. Says, thanks for all the amazing content. Appreciate that. So, just quickly, I'll switch desktop views here. Let me zoom in here. Oh, I mean, I have ALSA Mixer on the system. But what am I going to do with it? Really, what I would probably use is, how about NCPA Mixer? That's the Ncurses Pulse Audio Mixer. I did a video on this about a week or two ago. It's a really nice implementation of basically PAVU control, Pulse Audio Volume Control, except in a terminal. I can, adjust things here. So if I wanted, something in the terminal to play around with input and output, volume levels, I think NCPA Mixer is a nice program. ALSA Mixer is fine too, though. Yeah, some terminals have better and more color schemes out of the box. Yeah, well, that's true. But you can like, okay, so Xterm and RxVT, they don't have any color schemes out of the box, right? They're basically black on white, and they look really ugly. But, you can configure your X resources file to put any color scheme in those terminals you want. Now, terminals like the GNOME terminal and Console with a K, the XFC terminal, all that stuff, yeah, they have pre-built color schemes. You go into the menu, select preferences, pick a color scheme, solarized, for example, and boom, you have the solarized color scheme in your terminal. That is a nice feature. But you can get any color scheme you want in any terminal for the most part. There's no terminal out there that you can't change the colors on, that I know of anyway. Somebody will probably tell me one. It'll be a terminal I've never heard of. But all the terminal emulators most of us use, yeah, you can change the color schemes without too much difficulty. Yeah, no need for a website. Just create a Facebook group. LOL. Yeah, you know what? I didn't mention that those were a couple of big videos for me early in the year in 2018. Was I made a video announcing I was deleting my Facebook. And I had quite a few people following me on Facebook at the time. I created that Facebook account because I started my YouTube account. And within 6 months, I had a lot of people following me over on Facebook, interacting with people on Facebook. And then the big Facebook privacy scandal happened. And one day I just deleted it. I said, no more. I'm getting off of this. And for those of you that were following me on Facebook, I'm sorry, but I can't be on Facebook anymore. I made a video about it. A lot of you guys left Facebook with me, though. I'm glad you did. It's not worth being on that thing. And then a couple of weeks later, I made a video. Hey, I got off of Facebook. I'm sitting here on Twitter, and Twitter's just as bad. So I made a video announcing I'm getting off of Twitter. I'm leaving Twitter and going to Mastodon. And a lot of you guys followed me to Mastodon, which was great. I have loved Mastodon, by the way. Mastodon is so much better than Twitter ever was. Yeah, Peter says you can combine finishing the website with your videos. Show how to make the website. I could actually do that. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. I'm not a complete novice when it comes to things like setting up a lamp stack and, installing things like WordPress and Joomla and things like that. I used to do stuff like that in a previous life. Used to build websites. Not something I do anymore. I haven't done it in years, but it's something I'm comfortable with. I know enough PHP to be dangerous. I don't mind playing with MySQL databases, things like that. Yeah, LOL cat. Okay. Guess you meant to type LOL and you added the cat there accidentally. Yeah, the big Facebook privacy scandals with a S at this point. Yes. Yeah, there were a few more after that, but yeah, the big one where Zuckerberg appeared in, in front of Congress and all that, what was that, back in April? Anyway, I just couldn't be a part of it anymore. Yep. So yeah, I went to Diaspora. I deleted Facebook and signed up on Diaspora. Deleted Twitter, signed up over on Mastodon. Diaspora, is not that great. I mean, I still post there occasionally, but it doesn't seem like much. There's not much action over on Diaspora. It just isn't taking off. It's not growing. Where Mastodon is skyrocketing in popularity. It really is. Mastodon is really blowing up. It's becoming like a big social network very quickly. Yeah, DT, to be dangerous. Is that a reference to Michael Hart and his Learn Enough to Be Dangerous series? Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I think Minds.com uses Floss, free Libre open source software. Don't know anything about Minds, but people keep telling me to check that out. Conceptually, Diaspora is great, says Nico. I agree, that's why I'm there. Conceptually, Diaspora and Mastodon are both great. It just seems, as a platform, not a lot of people can get into Diaspora. Just not something, Also, installation, like you want to set up your own Diaspora pod. From what I've heard, it's difficult, Setting up your own instance of Diaspora is kind of a pain in the rear end. Where setting up your own instance of Mastodon, people tell me, is a bit easier. So, yeah, my social network is good old email. Yeah, and I really think kids these days really miss the beauty of email. Now everybody wants things instant. You want somebody to tweet and you get an instant Twitter notification on your smartphone. You know what? Send me an email. Send me an email. I might not even check it today. It might be tomorrow when I check my email. Then I'll read your email. Then I'll message you. You may not even read your email. It may take us 2-3 days to finish a conversation via email. And it was great. Those were the days, Now it's got to be instant, right? I think everybody just needs to slow down a little bit. That's a good resolution for 2019. Let's all just slow down a little bit. Yeah, Discord's a lot easier because of the instant chat. Discord's great too. Of course, Discord is not free and open source software, but as a platform, I like Discord. The reason I use Discord, though, to be honest, and the reason I keep a Discord account is for gaming. Like if I wanted to do a gaming live stream and I wanted to interact with people in game and record it, via a YouTube stream, Discord is something I would need to use. It just works better for something like that. That's what it was designed for. Where something like Zoom or Google Hangouts, they weren't built for something like that. Yeah, Big Pod. I sure use email, but for conversations, I want instant chat as well better and more fluent. Yeah, I guess I just miss the early days of the internet, the 80s and most of the 90s. Before all, even before you had things like instant messaging and really the internet was just better back in the early days. The web was better. Before we all had fast internet speeds, when web pages often didn't even have any images on them, because it would take all day for you to download a picture in a web page. So you tried not to put any images in web pages, in the early days. Yeah, one of the high points of DT, living in the terminal for a few weeks. Great idea. Yeah, I did that, 30-day. I'm going to try to use only terminal applications where possible. OBS and GIMP were exceptions, Kdenlive, because I had to make my channel, of course. I can't stream without OBS, and I can't make thumbnails without using a graphical program, obviously. You can't use the terminal for something like that. But, I use the Lynx web browser, which I still use, love it. Use the Ranger file manager, which I still like the Ranger file manager, but now I've moved on to VIFM, which I really like. By the way, VIFM, when I made my video on VIFM, I used it for a couple of weeks. I finally figured out how to add the icons in VIFM, similar to how you can add them in Ranger. So now every directory and file has an icon out to the side of it. I also discovered that in VIFM, you can actually get image previews if you have W3M installed on your system, which I do. So, hold on just a second. Let me go to my backgrounds directory and get into preview mode. Now it doesn't work as expected. You see, I'm getting the image previews, but they are buggy. There's something I did not set up quite right, but it looks like it would work. But whatever, I had to write some kind of shell script. Like this thing is not built with that kind of support out of the box, VIFM. But the VIFM dev says, well, you can write a custom script and, you know, do this and that, and you might get images to work in VIFM. So I played around with it a little bit. Obviously, I haven't got it to work just yet, but I think I will be able to get the image previews to work. I don't typically use image previews, though. I really didn't like it in Ranger. So it's not a deal breaker for me, but I would like to get it to work so I can share it with you guys, maybe on a video. Getting the icons to work was very easy. Yeah, you find texting so clumsy, especially with the old Nokia kind of phones. Yep. Yeah, CompuServe. I was a big CompuServe user. Yeah, way back in the early days of the internet. Also used Prodigy. Prodigy was great as a service. Yeah, Netscape was the browser of choice. Yeah, Netscape was the most popular browser, Netscape Navigator, in the early days of the internet, before Microsoft decided they wanted to kill Netscape. Yeah, damn shame that IRC is dying. Yes, without the Freenode network and without basically Linux and programming and open source software projects, IRC would be dead. It's the Freenode network that keeps IRC going. It's really people like us that are keeping IRC going. Nobody really uses IRC. I go to IRC to get support for Linux distro support or for questions about, you know, programming. You know, you can go to, you know, support channels for Python and Haskell, whatever programming language you want. A lot of free and open source software programs usually have a channel on Freenode where you can go and maybe get some support. Yeah, check again. Steven says, yeah, check out Freenode. Yeah, there's plenty of people on Freenode, but that's the only place people are on IRC these days is Freenode. Jam, is Lux worth it? I've been thinking about using it, but I'm not sure if it'd be worth it for me. I don't see why it wouldn't be. I don't personally use Lux encryption, but if you did, I don't see it being a negative either way, whether you use it or not. I just say go for it. So, what was that HTTP alternative? Is there a recent HTTP alternative? I'm not sure what you're asking there, Morality. I'm sorry. Yeah, DT, is there a reason you are using Bash, or did you just stick with it as default? Taking a look at ZSH or Fish would make a great video. Happy New Year. I've used ZSH a lot over the years. Bash is, I just stick with Bash because it's always installed. It's always installed on a distro. Like 9 times out of 10, the default shell on most Linux distros is Bash. The other 1 out of 10 times, ZSH is the default shell. But Bash is also on the system as well. So if you know Bash, you got a bunch of Bash scripts, you're good. But I like ZSH. I haven't really played with Fish at all. But I wouldn't mind taking a look at it on the channel. I'm not opposed to doing some stuff with some different shells. Yeah, Mr. GFY, yeah, I never turn on image support in Ranger or W3M. I don't either. Matter of fact, I don't turn on image support in Ranger, and I don't really like W3M. I have it installed, but I don't use it. I use Lynx, and the reason I use Lynx is because when I want a text-based web browser, well, here is distrowatch.com in Lynx. It's going to take a second, of course, to load up. But this is just glorious text. There's no images. They don't try to arrange things in Lynx like a website would. Like on a website, on the DistroWatch, it's arranged in 3 columns, right? Let me show you the DistroWatch page. So you have this column over here, This column, the main column in the center, this column over here, and a lot of terminal-based web browsers try to mimic this layout, and it just looks bad, right? Links doesn't do any of that. Links is not trying to be a web page, right? It just gives you text, and it looks like a normal text document. I have my page down, and I can read things about the latest distro releases, and this just looks good. Love the way this looks. Easy on the eyes, nothing confusing about it. Now let's W3M distrowatch.com. The exact same webpage. See this? It's still trying to do this column view. You know, you got the 3 columns, one here, the main column here, and then the other column here. And I mean, it's not like it's unreadable or anything, but I don't know. I don't need all of this. I don't need it to try to mimic the actual HTML, right? I just want the text. I just want the big, beautiful, glorious text, right? So that's why I use links. I don't really care for W3M. And that was W3M, by the way, without the images. With the images, W3M just looks bad, in my opinion. I know people are going to disagree with me. So I know it probably started something there, but yeah, so yeah, Gopher. You're talking about, oh yeah, you're talking old school. Yeah. Way back in the day. Gopher. Yeah. Yeah, I haven't even thought about Gopher in 3 decades at least. I mean, maybe longer than that. Gopher has been dead a long time. Yeah, you're thinking, yeah, other than HTTP, people connected via Gopher. Now, that was some of the real early days of the internet. Yeah, Extend 4 is faster than Btrfs. I couldn't tell you one way or the other on that. Extend 4 is more stable, though. That's why most distros use it by default. Michael says, I dislike fish, but ZSH with some configuration can be nice. Yeah, I have no problem with ZSH. Manjaro installs ZSH by default, I think, on most of its editions. And I don't hate using ZSH. I mean, I don't go to the trouble of, like, if a terminal opens up and it's using ZSH, I don't immediately type bash to switch over to the bash shell. You know, I can use ZSH. Yeah, have you done any Pi installs yet? You know, I haven't done any Raspberry Pi installs on the channel. I have talked about the Raspberry Pi on a couple of videos. When I did my video about the Elgato Cam link, I used that to capture a signal from my Raspberry Pi. But I didn't go through any kind of install. That particular Raspberry Pi I have has Raspbian installed on it, though. Debian's version of their Raspberry Pi edition. Yeah, no links to or e-links. No, I don't care for those. They're not as good. Links with a Y, L-Y-N-X, is better. Lynx, L-Y-N-X, is the oldest web browser still under active development. For those of you interested. It has been in constant development since 1992, I believe, Lynx. So that's a very old web browser. Yeah, DT, this makes me cringe. You didn't like what? Me showing you Lynx or W3M? Or maybe you didn't like either one of them. You're probably, you know, somebody that likes Google Chrome, Big Pod. Actually, you love Windows. You probably like Microsoft Edge. The first browser is making me cringe. So it was, you didn't like Lynx? Come on. Lynx is gorgeous. It really is. Are you partial to the Qt browser, DT? I have it installed. I haven't used it much. I just installed it for the first time about a week ago. I haven't played with it enough to tell you whether I like it or not, but it's an interesting project. You know, it's a browser, you know, it doesn't have any title bars, window decorations or anything, and you use, I guess, Vim commands to navigate around in. I haven't played around with it enough to know much about it. Seems like an interesting project. Once I know more about it, I may make a video about it. I don't know. I'm still stunned that Big Pod thought Lynx was not good. uh, how's the Browsh project? Browsh is interesting. It's not something I would use. Because if I need images and video in a browser, I'm just going to open up Firefox. I'm not going to try to do all that in the terminal. So Browsh is interesting. It's just I have no use for it. I can't think of a use why I would want to do, like video in a terminal, this pixelated video stuff that Browsh can do. Just don't see the need for that. I'm just going to open up a real Firefox or Chrome or something at that point. DT, if you do development, say web or any program, what is your preferred editor IDE? I'm not a web developer or any kind of developer. I did some web development years ago. Back when I was on Windows, though, I did everything with Notepad. To be honest, I just used Notepad. Just plain text, no fancy IDEs. Nowadays, moving to Linux, I like Genie. If you want something graphical, I install Genie on every Linux install I do. And of course, Vim. I like Vim. But I'm not a professional programmer or anything. And some of this is going to depend on what kind of language you're using to program in. Certain IDEs are more geared toward different languages, Yeah, Bud Lab says there's a new browser in town called Next. It is Lisp-based. Yeah, that could be interesting. I might check that out. Next. I haven't heard of that one, actually. Yeah, Mr. GFY, you just use Nano. A lot of people do. Nano is actually not bad. You can get a lot done with Nano. Yeah, I like Emacs with evil mode, so I can use Vim bindings. Yep. Ruby Dev using Vim here, and Bash, and Xterm. Yep. Xterm is a fine terminal emulator. I use RxVT, but I have lived, on tiling window managers, for example, where I used Xterm as my terminal emulator. Xterm's fine. Peter, yeah, you use Notepad QQ, but you started with Vim, and you actually like it. Okay. All right. We got a lot going on here. Let's switch scenes. Got too many scenes here in OBS tonight to swap between. Had a few different views set up depending on what I was doing. Had that one OBS scene set up just for you guys to watch the rap video. So that was... And I actually wasn't sure if I was actually going to play any of the older videos from this past year that I did on the channel. But that rap video was like 3 minutes long. It's like, most of you probably have never seen that video because, again, it was kind of in the early days of the channel, so I thought I'd share that one with you guys. Anyway, the stream has been going for about 2 hours, so I'll probably shut it down here in a few more minutes. So if you guys got anything you want to discuss, any questions or comments, let's get them all in. Thomas, do you guys have a crackling mic in Linux? I don't. I mean, we would have to know what kind of mic you were using, what the audio server is. I mean, we would have to know some stuff to even begin to diagnose the problem. What kind of programs are you using when the crackling happens? I mean, that's a deep kind of question. You're probably going to need to go to some kind of support forum, really, to get an answer to something like that. Because that question is way too general. Play that video that was like coping with Windows addiction. Yes. Yeah, that was a more recent video. Most of you guys have probably saw that one. But you know what? It is a short video, and I will actually play it because I do need to step away from the camera for just a second. So it will occupy you guys while I step away for a second. I'm going to grab me another Yingling if I can find the video. Let's see. Forget what the name of that video was, though. First of all, I know it was a recent one. Ah, here we go. Alright, and I'm going to step away for a second while this plays. So, I will be back with a fresh beer. You know it's not good for you. It's not good for you physically, mentally, or emotionally. You are ready to kick the habit. It's not going to be easy, though. You know others that have tried and failed. Maybe you have tried to quit and failed in the past, but don't give up. Here are a few common methods for quitting Windows and other bad habits. Number 1. Cold turkey. Probably the most common way to quit is simply quitting cold turkey without any outside help, therapy, or support. Although it's often the first method quitters try, it may not be the most effective for getting off of Windows. Number 2. Behavioral therapy, often called counseling. This involves working with a counselor or guru to find ways not to use Windows. Together, you'll identify your triggers, such as emotions or situations that make you want to use Windows, and make a plan to get through the cravings. Number 3. OS replacement therapy. There are several types of OS replacements out there, including Linux, Mac, BSD, Chrome OS, Android, and more. You may be more likely to quit Windows using OS replacement therapy, but be careful. Not all OS replacements are created equal. Some may prove as harmful as Windows due to their proprietary nature. Number 4. Medication. There are a variety of elixirs that can help with your Windows cravings and subsequent withdrawal symptoms. Please consult with your physician before starting these medications. No matter which method you choose, an important part of quitting Windows is to build a plan that works for you. Pick a quit date that gives you time to prepare without losing your motivation. Tell friends and family that you are quitting. Get rid of all Windows installations. There will be days when all you want to do is give in to your cravings. Don't do it. Quitting will be the best thing you ever do for yourself, but you have to stick with your plan. No doubt about it, quitting Windows improves the body, mind, and soul. Your friends and family will notice a difference too. Your looks will improve, and you will be more confident. And you'll save money too. All right. I'm back with a fresh Yingling. Yeah, kick the Windows habit, huh? Yeah, somebody said, yeah, you like the Apple one better. Yeah, the Mac OS one that I did about a week or two before that one. You know, I got a little bit of backlash from some Windows fanboys about the window video you guys just saw, because I guess I took some shots at Windows. But the one I did on Mac, I really got some Mac fanboys angry at me about that one. Basically telling me how much Mac is so much better than Linux, how Mac is like the only true Unix operating system, because, you know, if Unix is all about doing one thing and doing one thing well, Mac, you know, it's because of its walled garden-like nature. You know, Mac is the ultimate Unix-like operating system. I'm like, you guys can't really believe this stuff. But I guess Mac fanboys, they're kind of special like that. I'm going to get some hate again. I should quit talking. I should end the stream. Let's see. Yeah, DT, you have the least crackling mic in the history of Linux. No, because I do get some weird staticky stuff in mics, but it's usually not the microphone. It's not a microphone problem. It could be if there's like a cable or something that's shorted out, but sometimes it can be the application that you're using. Discord gives me some weird stuff going on sometimes. I don't use Discord that often though, but usually if I have some really nasty like staticky audio. Discord's the only program that I really get that kind of stuff in. That's why I was, for the guy that was asking about the crackling mic issue, I mean, we got to know what mic you're using, what distro you're running. Does that distro use Pulse Audio or ALSA? You using the Jack server? Is it a USB mic? Or is it an XLR mic? When does the crackling happen? What program are you using? Yeah, 4 a.m. here in Germany. Must hit the sack soon. Yeah, it's not 4 a.m. It's 9:30 here, 9:30 p.m., but it's starting to get kind of late for me. I'd like to get up kind of early tomorrow. Got some things I want to do on New Year's Day. Might do a video tomorrow, I don't know. Probably won't do anything live. I won't do any kind of live stream, but I might record something. I'm not sure what I want to do, though. But it will be, a start of a new year. Last year, of course, January 1st, I announced I was running Manjaro KDE for 2018. So I should announce something tomorrow. I may do something with i3 tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know if I'll get around to, configuring i3 and getting that. But maybe. I don't know. I'll do something tomorrow, probably. Even if it's a short video, I'll probably release something. Yeah, Clardy, what's your day job? Or are you a full-time YouTuber? I am not a full-time YouTuber. I wish. I work a lot of hours at various jobs, but my main job that I work in retail. I do not work with computers. That's usually the first thing people, do you work with computers? Do you work with Linux at all? No. Do you have any kind of professional training? No, I went to college years ago. I have degrees in music. I have a bachelor's and a master's in music. Linux is just a hobby for me. It really is. Just something I got into a number of years ago. Those people who will put up with soldered, RAM and SSDs. Yeah, you're talking about the Mac guys. But leave the Mac guys alone, though. It's New Year's. That's happy holidays, everybody. No, regardless what operating system you're running. Sincerely, Happy New Year. Yeah, while I'm defending Windows, Mac guys are just crazy about defending Mac. Yeah, that is true. They are a different bunch. They're much more militant. Gung ho, right? Yeah. Polo, Happy New Year. You know what IRC is good for? It's good for getting help on NixOS. Yeah, well, with a distro like NixOS, it's good that, we have the Freenode network on IRC to get help. i3 configuration live stream. It should not be longer than 3 to 4 hours. I don't plan on spending 3 to 4 hours configuring i3. I've looked at the i3 config. It's not written in any kind of complicated language or anything. As a matter of fact, it's not written in any language at all. It's kind of like standard, almost markup kind of language. I'm sure I'm going to configure it over a number of weeks or even months. But initially, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and spend 4 hours just to get up and running i3. Heck no. Yeah, Big Pod. I don't defend Windows like Windows is the best. It isn't, but just like Windows, Linux has mistakes as well. And well, for some tasks, I would rather use Windows than Linux. Okay, I could see that. For some tasks, I would rather use Windows than Linux too. Like if I was a professional gamer, yeah, you got to use Windows. Luckily, I'm not a professional gamer, so yeah. And Peter, yeah, that's why I game with Windows. Yeah, gaming's the big one that you gotta. Yeah, you really can't game on. Linux, we're getting better. Mac, you can't really game on Mac. Kind of have to game on Windows. Yeah. The biggest mistakes of Linux, which annoy me: poor GPU support, no integrated file manager, slow starting, configuration menus. Right, we could make a very long list of the things Linux doesn't do that well. You guys hear me complain about things like Pulse Audio, for example, all the time. That being said, the things that don't work that well, I won't say they're minor, but we don't have any deal breakers. I mean, you go to Windows, like if, I got mad, I hate Pulse Audio, I'm going back to Windows. I'm going to find a lot of things in Windows to gripe about, so. Yeah, somebody said cough, systemd, cough. Yeah, I don't hate systemd as much as some of the rest of you guys. No, it's not a deal breaker for me. I like Gentoo and Gentoo based distros. I don't mind OpenRC. Debian before they switched to systemd. I didn't mind sys via NIT. I didn't mind Upstart in Ubuntu. Nowadays, Void Linux uses Runit. Works well. Yeah, I'm good with all of them, to be honest. Anyway, we've been running a little over 2 hours. So guys, I am going to go ahead and shut it down. This was a really nice 2018. Was it the best year? I don't know. Wasn't the worst year though. 2018 was kind of fun, especially the big year for me because, starting this YouTube channel, well, I started it late 2017, but really, we kind of got going really at the first of the year, 2018. Really looking forward to what 2019 holds in store for me. Some of the changes I think I want to do. I want to do more live streams like this. These solo live streams. I used to do these all the time in the early days of the channel. You guys seem to love these things. And these solo live streams are what I'm good at. I just click the start streaming button in OBS and I talk for an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long. And I can find stuff to discuss and do. And, got VMs I can play with. I can find stuff on the internet, articles to look at, and I don't know, this style of show suits me better, so I want to do more of these. I used to do more of these. Later in 2018, the last 3 months or so of 2018, I kind of got away from doing these. I want to do more of this. I want to do more tutorials, too, on the channel. More things like, like I did that tutorial discussing how to use Vim, for example. More educational stuff on the channel. Want to keep doing, of course, the distro reviews, but, do more stuff on, somebody mentioned shell commands, how to use bash and CSH, things like that. I would love to do a lot more stuff like that. I think those would be things that most of you would be interested in, and they would be fun for me, so. Anyway, I've got some things planned for 2019. Again, 2018 was great. I do want to thank all you guys for hanging out here this evening. I know it's New Year's Eve. I wish I could thank each and every one of you. There's still too many of you here watching for me to go through. There's still like 87 of you guys watching. You know what? I'll play one of my videos too on the way out. We'll go ahead and end with another funny video on the way out. But before I do that, quickly, the show made possible by Ansem, Carlos, Chris, Dylan, Leor, Rob, Tony. Any of you guys that are not supporting me on Patreon, you find this stuff interesting, informative, educational, just entertaining, please consider supporting me, DistroTube, over on Patreon. Alright guys, so I'm going to find a video here. Well, you guys asked about the Mac video. Are you a Mac user? If so, unlike most Windows users, you are probably aware of Linux. Most Mac users have, at one time or another, considered making the switch over to Linux. So, what's stopping you? Both macOS and Linux are Unix-like operating systems. Both give you access to Bash and other shells. Most of the same Unix commands that you use in Mac will also work in Linux and vice versa, but the similarities end there. So, how do Mac and Linux differ, and why should I switch from Mac to Linux? Linux is free. Free has two different meanings here, free as in cost and free as in freedom. macOS, it is designed to run on overpriced Mac hardware. Linux, though, is free in cost and can run on anything ranging from that 15-year-old laptop you have sitting in the closet to the latest and greatest supercomputers. When it comes to hardware choice, Linux is the clear winner. You can install it on any computer with any configuration of hardware and software. Linux just works. macOS is Apple exclusive. Yes, Hackintosh exists, but installing macOS on non-approved hardware is difficult and in many cases just impossible. Because of the difficulty involved, is Hackintosh even worth it? Let's talk security. While both macOS and Linux are certainly more secure than Windows, Linux is definitely the king in terms of security. Increasingly, macOS is being targeted by malware and adware. It gets worse every day. These are very rare in Linux. Also, Linux distros are constantly being patched and updated, so exploits are often fixed within hours. This doesn't happen on proprietary operating systems like macOS. Do you want customization? Linux has it, Mac doesn't. Want to customize something, hack on something, swap something out, remove something? On Linux, you have the freedom to make your operating system your own. Want a new desktop environment, text editor, Office suite? Easy. Heck, you can even move to another Linux distribution if you don't like the one you're currently on. With macOS, you're presented with a walled garden. It lacks the flexibility of Linux. You can't customize much of anything. You certainly can't change to another operating system. On older Macs, installing another operating system like Linux is difficult. On the newer Macs, Apple has made this process darn near impossible. And finally, Linux is open source. Mac isn't. Now, not everyone cares about the open source movement, but they should. By far, the most important reason to leave Mac and come over to Linux is because of open source. Ultimately, everyone wants their operating system to represent freedom, security, privacy, reliability, flexibility. But you can't get there with a proprietary operating system. The only way to get there is with open source. So, these are just a few reasons why you should choose Linux over Mac. And I suspect that you already were aware of most of these reasons. So what are you waiting for?